And welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas here visiting with Keelan, who is a recovering addict, and also Sarah Hayden, who is Director of Marketing at the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Stark County. And good morning again to both of you.
Good morning.
Keelan, you were in the middle of your story, and so you find yourself addicted to prescription drugs. You've tried numerous different things. Very creatively are able to find ways to get prescription drugs without having to continue to go back to a doctor asking for a prescription. Something leads you to go to your mom and ask for help. Did you feel at any point that you'd hit bottom, that you wanted to do things differently? What was it, do you think, that made you ask for help?
I always say it was God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. Mm-hmm. Because at that point, I really feel inside that I knew I was going to die if I continued. Looking back, I can say that. At that point, I have no idea. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. I was not in need of anything. I was just so hopeless. Like I had nothing. I had no other reason to live. And I'm just looking for somebody to give me a reason. I knew my mom would be the one to give me the reason.
What were your grades like at this time?
I'm 30. I graduated high school in 2004. And I wasn't in school. I was not in high school. I'd graduated at that time. I went through cosmetology school and nail school. And I wasn't really able to be productive in anything I did besides getting opiates. I was very productive at that.
Really?
Yeah. So there wasn't really anything beneficial in my life at that point. So when I went to my mom, I had nothing to give me motivation besides her. I was looking to her to really give me that drive and give me a reason to want to continue living.
Mm-hmm. And you say that she helped you, and she works with mental health.
She does.
In the Akron area, and so she was able to help you go through the detox period, which describe that a bit for us, if you will.
I ended up in the hospital and detoxing in the hospital in Canton, and I couldn't tell you exactly how long I was there. Every time my mom came and went numerous times each day, and I thought it was a new day every time, so I would have said I was there for a month. But I was so out of it. My brain did not know how to work without opiates. So I'm trying to just shake it off, they say. No, I was really sick. I was very, very sick. And, you know, people say it's kind of like the flu. It is the worst flu you've ever had times a million. I was sweating. I was sick. I was just, I didn't know who I was. Yeah. I was angry. I didn't know how to live that way, and I'm in the hospital trying to get better, and it's something that I would never ever want to go through again. Yeah. The fact that it was so terrible for me, it reminds me, when I look back, it reminds me, okay, you don't want to be there. You do not want to be there and go through that again.
That was my very next question. Was that enough to make a person, once you're on the other side of that and start to feel okay again, to be enough to not ever want to take another drug?
I'd love to say that I got sober after I went through detox and went through treatment. It did not work that way. I tried really hard. I just didn't know how. When I went through treatment, they gave me all the tools that I needed, but I wasn't willing to use those tools. I was not willing to pick them up and use them in my daily life to stay sober. I just wasn't ready. I did eventually get sober. I ran into somebody who was going through like the aftercare program when I was in when I was in outpatient, and I lied my way into a 12-step meeting, I say, because I told him everything was great, everything was dandy, that I was sober, and everything was not great. Nothing was dandy. So he ended up saying, hey, maybe you need to go and meet some other people who are going through what you're going through, who have been there, done that, and have recovered. So I was willing to go.
He was able to see that, okay, something's amiss here.
Yes.
And a 12-step program might be just what you need at this point. What was that like?
Going into a 12-step program?
And let us say, before you go into that, you have been, in truth, you have been sober for how long now?
I have been sober almost 6.5 years.
That is awesome. Congratulations,
Thank
because
you.
that is an achievement.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 12-step program.
So when I went, there's a lot of different avenues to recovery. So 12-step was just what brought me into recovery and allowed me to continue to be in recovery. But there's other ways to do it as well. But when I first went into a 12-step meeting, I see all these people who are sitting there, and I felt so uncomfortable and felt like I'm not comfortable in my skin here. It was just a awkward feeling, like I don't know these people.
That's so interesting, even though this was the fellowship of so many people who have been through the same thing, who if anybody could be in a room saying, hey, I've been where you are, no judgment here, I've been there, that still was an uncomfortable experience for you.
Oh, yeah. I'm walking into a room of people who I feel like I'm being judged by. Really, it wasn't, I'd never really experienced anything like that before. I felt like a little kid walking into a room of grown-ups who were having adult conversations. I didn't know what they were talking about. They were talking about life and recovery. And I just didn't know what that was like.
Tell us the age of the group.
Oh,
age ranges.
Gosh, probably anywhere from 20 years old to 70, 80 years old. So it was a pretty broad range.
Wow. Did you reach a point then that you did feel comfortable? Did you go back for a second night to the 12-step program?
I believe I went to a meeting that night.
Wow.
It was a day meeting. I went to an evening meeting. I went to a meeting the next day and the next evening. I just kept going. I had I'm searching for a reason to live. I'm searching for something that can help me. And it couldn't hurt. I knew it couldn't hurt. Everyone was having fun, laughing. Seemed like they enjoyed their lives. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just keep hanging out with them for now. See what happens.
Well, connect the dots now. So you're there and you've continued, and something in you continues to make you go to these meetings. Take us from there to when did you suddenly have a goal? Because you're helping others going through something similar. You're now a student. You're going to be using your life for an incredible reason and help so many people. Connect the dots for us.
So after I started going to meetings regularly for weeks, months, I started to feel like I had a family, like I had friends, like I had people supporting me in a way that I'd never had people support me before. So they had really encouraged me to give to the newcomer or the person who was in my shoes when I first walked into a meeting, to help them in the way that I was helped. It's something that we relate to each other. We're there for each other no matter what. We know what it feels like to be struggling with an addiction. We know what it feels like to walk into our first meeting. It's scary.
How did you two meet? We're also with Sarah Hayden here, who's the Director of Marketing at the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Stark County. How did your paths cross?
Well, Suzie, thanks for asking that question. Fran Gerbig is the manager of health and wellness at the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. She runs the Stark County Anti-Drug Coalition, and I believe she and Keelan connected and have, I believe, Keelan, that you participate in some of the meetings. Is that right? Yeah. And offer your guidance and expertise. And so Fran connected us, and Keelan agreed to participate and be on your show today.
It's really an inspiring story, because I know you are you're just a great role model for somebody else going through this, to be able to say, wow, she felt the way I'm feeling. She went through this, and she is on the other side, and she's conquered it. I can do it too. And you always say that you're a recovering addict, correct?
Correct.
We're always recovering.
Always recovering. I don't feel like I do feel like I'm recovered from a seemingly like hopeless state of mind that I was in from the beginning. I now have the tools, and I use the tools daily, and that's the 12-step program that I'm involved in, as well as the fellowship, other people who have been in recovery for a while now too. I utilize them every day, but it doesn't mean that I don't still have a thought of, oh, that would be really nice. And the only reason I think today that of using or of drinking or anything is because I just don't want to deal with life. The last 6 years, I've learned life for the first time ever. I'm 30 years old. I'm experiencing life that other people have experienced way before 30. So it's something that I have to remind myself. I don't want to be in those shoes that I was in before. But it is something that pops in my mind every now and again, like, oh, that would be really nice.
Have you found other things that give you that same good feeling, like running or exercising or something else that gives you that good feeling?
I
to replace
truly
the other?
love to be helpful to new women in recovery. That is the one thing
cool.
that drives me. I am so blessed to be alive today because there are so many people who have not been able to make it, and I've made it for a reason. And it's like I'm a survivor, so I feel like there's a need inside of me that God's given me the opportunity to live. So
I love that. So in other words, you now get a high from helping other people not get high.
correct.
That is very, very cool. Well, let's go. I don't want this time to go by without letting people know about a wonderful program coming up. Sarah, tell us what's happening.
Yeah, sure thing. The Opiate Symposium will be held December 14th at Walsh University Barrett Center. It starts at 8 a.m. in the morning, and it is going to feature all kinds of presenters with new solutions for this incredibly challenging epidemic. There's going to be Dr. Christina De Los Reyes, attorney Robert Garrity. He's going to be sharing his story of recovery. He was a medical professional, and he was able to recover, and he's going to share what made his recovery happen and what he would like to see other folks do. We'll also be having Chief Leonard Campanello. He is from the Gloucester Angel Program, and it is a diversion program for folks, not necessarily arresting them right out of the box, but redirecting them into more helpful treatment.
And this again, December 14th, 8 to 5?
Yes, and folks need to register online by December 9th at starkmhrsb.org. By December 9th for the Opiate Symposium.
Okay, I'm going to say that again, starkmhrsb.org. Sarah Hayden, thank you so much. Keelan, thank you so much. We just wish you all the best, and God bless you. You are doing good work in other people's lives. Don't miss the symposium. Certainly, if there's someone you know and love that has this struggle, make sure that they're there December 14th. And just a good thing for all of us to get a little bit more up to speed. You've been listening to Our Community on the Light, 95.9.